Okay, welcome back to What's Not Sport. I'm Will O'Connor. I'm your host. This is my unprofessional sporting podcast and opinion of the week. I'm really excited. I went and watched on the Sunday. My voice is a bit dead, so I'm recording right now, and it is Monday afternoon. I'm pretty tired. It was a big day, and we had a great time. We went Saturday. We did some Brisbane activities, watched the footy at different pubs. So many people out in Brisbane showing their support for their teams. It was just a great weekend. Before I want to get into it, I just want to say, hopefully I'll have some footage for this podcast. Not 100% sure. I'm just trying a few things. Hopefully I've got the two cameras up. No idea if I do. So, if I do, that's a win. If I don't, oh well. We will work out how to do that on a later date. So here we go, podcast number 11, the Magic Round recap. So today I'm going to go through the round recap, who I had for my tips, who won, so how many tips did I get right. Going to talk about in my opinion, the game of the round. I've got a few more notes from Magic Round that I want to go over. And then I also want to have a look at next round. And then to finish off the podcast this week, I have Will's Queensland extended squad with Origin coming up soon. So I've got 20 down. So we'll go through them later. Who I have, what positions, and then talk about what I want to do next week. So yeah, let's kick it off. So we started off with the Sharks and Eels to open up Magic Round. I did tip the Sharks. The Sharks won pretty convincingly. Eels nearly had a comeback. Josh Adokar scored a double, which was pretty amazing from him, considering, in my opinion, he hasn't been in a lot of form as what he usually is in. So he started to show that he can play some good footy again. I thought the Eels going to get it done with Mitch Moses being back. He started looking really good. The guy at the local Bottle is an Eels fan. He was telling me how they're going to win and they're going to make the top 8. So with Mitch Moses back, I think they're just missing out on Lomax. You get both of them in, and then it's going to be a very, very dangerous team. But I don't know how far away we are from seeing that a full-strength Eels team, and could it be too late? So the Sharks got that one. That's my first tip of the week. I got right on that. We then have Roosters Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins. They got brutally bashed by the Roosters. If you saw only the score, I believe it was only 2 tries in it, so it looked like a high-scoring game. If you just looked from the outside and looked like it could have been a pretty close game, it was not. The Roosters absolutely dominated the whole game, pretty much at all times. So it was, very Roosters dominated. And the Dolphins, they did start making some good plays towards the end. And if it was 5-10 minutes earlier, they might have been able to actually give the Roosters a run for their money, but it just wasn't good enough. So the Roosters took that one out. So that's my first wrong tip. That was Friday Magic Round, and then we had Saturday. So kick off Saturday, we had the Bunnies and the Knights. I thought Sydney, the Rabbitohs, would have a good game after they had a pretty cool and good performance against Storm. Even though they didn't get the win last round, they still put up a good fight. And it was a lot of dominance showed from Jack Wyden in that game against the Storm that actually showed glimmers of hope, I thought, for the Bunnies. But they lacked quite a bit, and Newcastle Knights finally got another win after quite a few rounds. They had been worried about Newcastle. They weren't looking good at all. So having them get a win shows that they are going to be a good team. Or does that just show the Bunnies aren't that good? I'm still uncertain after I think that was round 9. After round 9s, I still don't know who should be where on the ladder, in all honesty. So that move on. The next game was the Wars versus North Queensland, the Cowboys. That was definitely a great game. I watched it at the Star Casino, so that was pretty cool. There was so many Wars fans there and Cowboys fans, and the atmosphere was just amazing there. And so that really got me hyped up for Magic Round, seeing that the atmosphere at the casino, not even near Caxton Street or near the stadium at Suncorp. So yeah, it was pretty cool watching it there. The Wars beat the Wires beat the Cowboys there. It was actually a very hot, highly contested game. It was only 4 points in it at the end, so really close. It came down to the wire, and Metcalf really just stood out the whole game. He played so well. So shout out Metcalf. He's showing what he can do now, and he's getting a bit more confidence in his game, which is amazing to see. So I tipped that right. We then had West Tigers versus Dragons, another pretty close game, just a try in it. I didn't watch this game too much because we were on the move, but West, I said that they'd win. I backed them and they won, but a close game, only one try in it. We then had Titans and Doggies. I thought after the Doggies' performance last week, and look, I know Titans have been no good, and they've only been showing some sort of first half glory almost, or first 20 minute syndrome, where they're really good for the first 20 minutes and have suffered. But I thought this could be their big break, being such a local game. Like, their home is on the Gold Coast, Brisbane. The stadium at Brisbane, I think, is only an hour drive from there, so they would have had a lot of Queensland support there. But the Doggies just steamrolled them. It was a blowout of a game, and I did have a thought that maybe the Doggies are pretenders this season, and they haven't actually had a big game. They haven't had to fight what I would consider a top 4 team. And when they played the Bronx, who a lot of people are considering top 4, the Bronx rolled them. So I was going, maybe the Doggies aren't that good. But after watching them absolutely dominate against the Titans, I don't know I don't know how I feel about them now. Got a lot more confidence, but we'll see what comes out in the future. We then had probably what people thought to be the best game of Magic Round. They were expecting it to be the best game or one of the best games of Magic Round. It was Penrith versus Broncos. So a lot of home supporters would have been there for the Broncos, but they got absolutely destroyed by Penrith. And look, I was quite surprised about it. I thought in the first half, I was watching it, I was there, and I was going, in the first half, I was thinking they could be on here. The Broncos look good. They've had a couple of errors in their defence, and that's given Penrith a bit of a break, but then Penrith just put their foot on the throat and just showed that they are a team that is strong, that can be strong, that can be good. They showed glimpses of the team we have seen for the last half decade. So they're finally off. And after such a dominant win, I think it would have been 24 points they won by or something like that. I'm not 100% certain on that. But after a dominant win, they have gone from bottom of the ladder up to 15th, only 2 positions. But at the end of the day, they're moving up the ladder. So we'll see if they can get it into the top 8. And then to finish off Magic Round, the game I went to see, well, I saw 2 games on Sunday, but the game I truly went to see, I'm wearing a Raiders polo right now. It was Storm versus Raiders, and it was an absolute incredible game. I tipped Storm. Sorry. I would never tip Storm against Raiders. I picked the Raiders. Storm looked so deadly, but the Raiders were just it was just a real. I would not necessarily say there was a better team. Both teams made errors. You know what? I'm going to take that back. I would say there was a better team, and it was the Canberra Raiders. We just had poor execution on that front. but I can talk about that later. I just want to quickly go back. I wanted to say I tipped the Broncos for that Broncos-Panthers game, and I did not get that tip right. So, back onto it. The Storm versus Raiders game was absolutely incredible, and you wouldn't believe about how many people who weren't Raiders supporters were going for the Raiders. I had so many people were cheering for the Raiders going up the milk. It was incredible, but yeah, the Raiders needed to work on a little bit of execution. We had 2 missed try opportunities, which would have cleared us from our worries. We got a bit lucky with a penalty when Pappenhausen took a field goal and, got a field goal. Fox League awarded it and everyone thought it, but no, overall it was actually a penalty to the Raiders for foul play. Well, not quite foul play, but it was a bit of grubby stuff on a defender. So we got the penalty and that saved us. We then scored off off the next set. Kyle Weeks was absolutely incredible the whole game. And everyone was just getting around the Raiders. It was great to see. So we finished off that. It was 18-20. So, poor old Paps only converted 1 try. He converted 1 try out of the 3 that they scored. And he got, I think it was 2. So, yeah. That was the 18. And he got a penalty as well, a penalty goal, I believe it was, or it might have been 2 tries, 1 converted, and 3 penalty. The score was 2018, so I think that's right. Oh no, that was 2 tries. Sorry, I apologise. Anyway, Ryan Paps, he played such a great game. He's a great footy player, but yeah, missed out on those conversions, which could have possibly why Storm didn't win. But at the same time, the Raiders' defense was so good. There was only a few gaps, and we produced so many opportunities to get over the line. And anyway, the game went into, it was 18 all at full time, so we went into Golden Point. The Raiders had a good defensive set, and then Storm gave away a penalty. There was a bit of a tuffle, foul play on Tom Starling, and then there was 2 sin bins because Josh Papali ran into a fight. But we got a penalty out of it, and then we ended up getting down the other end of the field, and then there was a high contact on Hudson Young, and we got a penalty 20 meters out from the try line, and we took Jamal Fogarty the penalty goal, and we won. It was great. Now, everyone I saw leaving the stadium, if they weren't Penrith supporters, not Penrith, they weren't Storm supporters, they were going to me up the milk, and it was awesome. We went to Lord Alfred's where the Raiders take over there, and so many Raiders supporters, so many just NRL supporters were there and having a great time. So, really big raps on Magic Round. I want to talk about games of the week. So, I had 2. I had a short list of 2. Obviously, my game of the week was the Storm vs Raiders game, but the Waz and Cowboys game was very exciting and thrilling. I just wanted to shout them. Those 2 games were the closest games of the week. Less than a converted try, so the Waz Cowboys game being 4 points difference, and the Raiders Storm being 2. The fact that it went all the way down to the wire, I thought it was absolutely amazing. As I said earlier, the Raiders Storm game went all the way to Golden Point, which was great to see, and a great way to end Magic. I think that was the best way Magic Round could have possibly ended. Such a close game going to Golden Point. So, yeah, to end an awesome weekend of footy, to have after 6 out of the 7 games played before, or maybe 5 of the 7 games played before, be a bit of blowout games and have like quite a dominating half, like one side being super dominating and the other team being a bit lackluster. I think it was really good to have it end on such a close game and it not being a blowout. And it was being entertaining the whole time, and to finish it on Golden Point, I think that was the best possible way Magic Round could have ended this year. So that's why the Raiders Storm game is my game of the week. Now, I wanted to share a few thoughts and notes of Magic Round that I had. As a Queensland supporter, it was hard to watch that. Not even well, I'll scrap that for a second. Let's go back. As an NRL supporter, I have a bit of confusion here. Brisbane obviously being, Suncorp being in Brisbane, which is in Queensland, I have quite a bit of confusion because why was there only one Queensland team considered to be a home game? And the only home, and it was the Titans. So Magic Round, the only Queensland team that was classified Magic Round as a home game was the Titans, which I think isn't really fair, considering that the Broncos' home ground is Suncorp Stadium. So why, when they're playing, it's technically not a home game? And then Dolphins only being at Redcliffe an hour up. Why isn't that considered a home game? North Queensland, a little bit different, but because they're in Queensland, they have such a supporting. I feel like a lot of the other teams shouldn't have their game considered a home game. So the Roosters being from Sydney, I don't know why their game was considered a home game when it should have probably been the Dolphins. North Queensland should have been considered a home game instead of the Wars. Definitely the Broncos, and I definitely agree with the Titans being a home game, but that's just my opinion. Now, as a Queensland supporter, I have lots of disappointment with this fact right here. Out of the 4 Queensland teams that played on the weekend, none of them, yeah, that's correct, none of them got a win. So Queensland was 0-4 at Magic Round, which is quite disappointing to see. On top of that, I want to talk about Penrith. They beat the Broncos. Could Penrith be back? They showed some great form. But should the Broncos actually be considered a good team? Like, should they be considered one of the big 4 at the moment? But that's my biggest takeaway from that game was, are Penrith back, or are Broncos not the team we thought they were? We move on. I want to talk about I've talked about them all pod so far. The Canberra Raiders. They were looking in fine form. They're now second on the ladder, which I think is exceptional. A lot of people had them picked as to get the wooden spoon, which I thought was ridiculous after last season. No, we didn't have the greatest season, but you got to think about that. We were such a young team last season. So, of course, we're not going to be up high, but you got to go, these players have matured. We got this, and that. So, they're going quite well. I just wanted to point that out. And then the biggest question I have after Magic Round is, who are our contenders for the grand final? And the 4 that I could think of is our top 4. The Doggies, they're winning it. The Raiders, second on the ladder. The Storm, third on the ladder, 3rd or 4th, and the Wars, 3rd or 4th. I don't know exactly where they are, but I think the top 4 at the moment is going to be our grand final contenders. They have been the most consistent teams against teams that would be considered hard or easy. They're doing the best job. I know all of them have probably had a match or 2 that they've gone, we shouldn't have lost like that, or we shouldn't have got smashed by this team. But out of all of them, they've probably been the most consistent 4 teams, and that's who, after this round, I'm looking at as our possible grand final contenders. After the weekend, we had Preston, captain of the Doggies, he's now out for a 3-week. He's got a 3-week match ban, or facing after a crush tackle. This means if I don't know if he's going to go to the judiciary and fight it, or the tribunal. But it looks like he's not going to be selected. He won't be able to play at Origin, so he'll miss out on making his New South Wales debut this Origin game. I'm sure he'll make it later on in the series. Maybe not, depending how they go first game. But yeah, he'll be out for 3 weeks and misses out on that. And then Reuben Cotter from the Cowboys, he is out for 2 weeks, but he will be back for Origin selection. So hopefully, for those Queensland supporters, we'll see him selected. Just to finish up on Magic Round, it was such a great weekend wherever you were in Brisbane, whether it was a pub, a casino, Caxton Street, actually at Suncorp. Almost anywhere in Brisbane, I would see someone with an NRL jersey on, and it was just awesome to see that. It's just a great event and a great initiative to have it there, and it's just so much fun. Everyone has so much fun. Going to the Caxton, watching the footy on the big TV was pretty cool to do that. I've never done it before. Going to Lord Alfred's where all the Raiders supporters are, that was really cool. Going back there after the game, having the time of our lives, I was in about a group of, I would say about 10 at least. Half the people I was with watching the game knew who they were, all family and friends, and then the other half are just randoms that were just having a fun time. They were just going up the milk, and we were just partying around, having fun. So yeah, I think that's the best thing what NRL and Magic Round's about. We're all just rugby league fans, and who cares if your team wins or lose? Let's just all love rugby league and have fun. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on Magic Round, and I'll have some content to come out. I believe I'll get it out. I'll get it out by Monday. Sorry, not Monday. I'll get it out by Wednesday morning. I want to put it out on my YouTube first and then my Instagram, just because I've got my YouTube. I started my YouTube uploading the podcast there. They're only audio up there, so we'll see how that goes. So if you're a watcher on Spotify, maybe have a look at the YouTube. If you haven't watched all the episode or listened to them, I'd really like that. I'll try and get some video, and hopefully this podcast is recording and I'm not blatantly talking to cameras that aren't actually working. So hopefully that all works, and I'll get that uploaded to the YouTube as well as Spotify, and then I'll have some content to come out on hopefully YouTube and some short videos on Instagram. Now let's have a look at next week. Next week, I've got a feeling that there will only be a couple of really, really good games. I think there'll be 3 really good games next week. The rest might be a bit of a blowout. So similar to the week we just had. So to kick off next week, we've got Parramatta and the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins will get up there. We then have Knights and Titans. The Knights showing that they can win a game. I'm backing the Knights there. The Titans haven't showed me much. I backed them for Magic Round. It just didn't happen. So after that, I can't back them until they prove me wrong. Bunnies versus Bronx. It's a home game for the Rabbitohs, so I'm going to go the Bunnies. They'll be wanting to get a win after a few losses in a row. The Bronx will be fired up after losing to Penrith in Magic Round, but I just have a feeling that the Bronx aren't that good at the moment, and they've got a lot of flaws that can be easily exposed that we saw on the weekend. Then yeah, So I don't think the Bronx should be considered a top 4 team. But I think the Bunnies will get the win there. Now, this game is, but I reckon it'll be a close game. That's one of my games of the week I'm predicting. We then have Raiders versus Doggies. It's a home game for the Raiders. I've talked about them all podcast. I have my feelings about them. It's a top of the table clash, so I know it's going to be a good one. But I'm picking the Raiders to win. We'll find out if the Doggies are pretenders or not this weekend, depending on how much they lose by. We've got Dragons Wars. That's an easy one for me. I'm going to back NZ. They've been pretty good when I back them. So, and pretty reliable. As I said, I reckon they're one of the grand final contenders in that, or I said earlier. We got North Queensland versus Penrith up at North Queensland. So I actually think the Cowboys are going to get it done there. Just the fact that the Panthers won't be used to the humidity there, the heat. It's a Cowboys stomping ground. And a lot of teams have struggled to go up to North Queensland and beat them. So I'll back them. We then have, but I reckon that's going to be a close game. Not as close as what the Bunnies and Broncos games will be, or the Milk and Doggies, but it'll be a good one. We then have Storm versus Tigers. The Storm will walk over the Tigers. It's a home game at Melbourne, so probably not a massive crowd, and the only people that will probably be there are Storm supporters. It's probably going to be just cold. So, and the Storm are just used to that. They're used to not getting a huge turnout, usually because of the AFL. So I'm going to back them to beat the Tigers. And then to finish off the week, I think this will be a really good game. Manly versus Sharks. I think Manly get this only narrowly. They're coming off a bye. So they'll be well rested and they'll want to prove that they're a strong team. So yeah, there you go. That's my picks for next week. See how many I got right. Hopefully it's more than 4. Now, I want to talk about Origin. I've got a selected extended squad for Queensland, 20 players. I'll tell you my starting 13, and then my interchange and my reserves. They are not set in stone, as in I think they'll get picked, but I don't know if they'll be on the bench or if they'll be a reserve or if they'll be a 20th man or whatever. I just don't know where they'll go. So I'm going to kick it off. With no Reece Walsh, well, I don't think Reece Walsh is back. Anyway, I don't think Reece Walsh will be selected if he is back because he had a bit of time out of the game. But I'm 99% sure he's injured. For fullback, I've got Kalen Ponga. They won on the weekend, the Knights. Kalen Ponga is just a good footballer, great fullback. And yeah, I think it's hard to go past him. On our wings, I've got Selwyn Cobbo and Xavier Coates. I don't need to say much there. They're two of the best wingers in the game at the moment. It's hard to go past them. For our centres, I got Val Holmes and Hamaso Tabuai-Fida, the Hammer. I almost put Hammer as my fullback, and then I thought, no, I think he could go quite well a pairing with him and possibly Selwyn on that right side. It could be a really good matchup. So I reckon put Hammer in the centres. Our halves, Cam Munster at 5'8" and DC at halfback. I don't need to explain myself, just stock standard Origin stuff there. They're one of the best halves pairing, and especially when it comes to Origin time, they're just so good all the time. So I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing that, and I know I'll get that one right. Our props, I got the Titans boys, David Fafita and Tino Fasamalawi. There's not much to say there. Both playing pretty good footy. Fafita, he's got a lot more rev in him. I don't think he's shown what he's got at the moment, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks he shows what he has, and he's a great footballer. He takes some carries, takes some big hits, good defense, and we'll see him in Origin hopefully. Hooker, I got Harry Grant. He's back from his injury for Origin, so I reckon he'll be on the starting side. He won't be on the bench to start off. He's playing so good. He's captain of the Storm, so I got him there. Our second row, I got Kurt Capewell. Don't need to explain myself there. Such a standard Origin player. I hold him in high regards, and he just is one of those players. Is you know what you're going to get for Origin from him. And then I got Jaden Sewer as well. He's playing quite well for the Dragons at the moment, so he's probably a bit of a roughie. I've put him on my starting side. Whether he will or not, I don't actually think so, but I'm going to back him. And then as lock, I got Pat Carrigan. He's one of the best forwards in the game, so there's not much to say about that. Then our interchange and our reserves, I got Ben Hunt, another stock standard Origin player. He's just so good. Hopefully, he'll be on the bench and he'll sub out with Harry Grant. I then got Ethan Bullimore. He has been playing some great footy and he's super aggressive and strong with his game, which is really good and is what we need. Queensland needs. So I think we'll see him come out on maybe in the last 10 minutes of the first half, last 20 minutes of the second half, and he'll be a real game changer, change the flow of the game because he can be so destructive. I got Tom Dearden. I reckon he'll be on the bench. He is so good. He's been playing such good footy at the moment. He's really going to give Munster a run for his money for that 5'8" position, and yeah, he's just been so good. Ruben Cotter, what can I say? He's back from his, hopefully, he will be back. If he starts on the bench, you didn't put him on, it's fresh forward, and the forwards are so important in Origin, so having him back will be great. Having him to come on would be great. So that's my bench, I reckon, and then here are my reserves and my 20th man. So my reserves, I reckon Xavier Savage will get called up to the extended squad. After the first round this season, Billy Slater said, I hope Xavier Savage has got Origin on his radar. He's got the potential for it. So, although he hasn't had the best last few rounds, but he shows a lot of potential, is a really good player, and I reckon Billy will pull him up to that extended squad. Tom Gilbert, just another forward that is so good. I reckon he's in that reserve, and I reckon our 20th man, another Canberra Raiders boy, Owen Paddy, he comes in off the bench for Starling, and he's so good for the Raiders. He can help change the momentum. So, and he's a Queensland boy through and through. So, even though he's only fresh onto first grade side of footy, maybe Billy's looking to mentor him or get him to have a look for future years down where he can get a start or start on the bench. So that's just my thoughts as Owen Paddy is my 20th man. So that's what I've got for this week, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the podcast. Next week, I'll go on a bit more, talk some AFL. We'll do a ladder review. As always, tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you don't want to hear, because I always want to be improving for you guys. Hopefully I get a few more things going on the socials. I've been a bit lazy. And hopefully I get this YouTube channel to probably work. And hopefully these cameras are on. So hopefully I've got dual cameras. If it comes out, I hope it looks pretty cool. And yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. And if that's what's not sport, cheers.